way better than watching a movie, way better than like, I don't know, what's another thing people do? I don't know, going to a football game, whatever.
Hey, some people really like their football. Don't say that.
Anyway, it's really
Our
cool.
2 subscribers just went down to 1 because you...
Hi everybody, it's Jonna and this is my husband Daniel, and we're going to be doing a video of our top 10 games that we would recommend to new gamers, or recommend to people who want to get into the hobby and don't really know where to start. So these are games we own, we like, we share with other people. So yeah.
We're giving you 10 because sometimes if we only gave you 3, then you might go online and look at these and be like, those aren't interesting. So if we give you 10, hopefully 1 out of the 10.
Something will stick.
Yeah, it's really 20 because she has 10 and I have 10, but most of them, there's probably a lot of overlap. I did the number 10 as like the easiest to get into, most wide appealing, and number 1 is more like meatier, more in-depth
heavy
games. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I did my list like more complicated to easiest. So like my top 5 are games I know I could teach to anybody.
So we did the opposite.
Yeah.
What's your number 10?
Okay. My number 10 is a game called Sagrada. And in this game you are all stained glass glazers, and what you're doing is you're recreating patterns with these really colorful dice in a game board that's shaped like a stained glass window. So the theme is really beautiful, and what you're doing is basically building patterns, but you're rolling dice and you have to draw the best dice for what you're trying to do.
I have an honorable mention.
That's not fair.
I know, but this game is, if you have really young kids who have trouble playing any kind of games at all, like including the easiest of easy games, this is a fun game that they'll kind of grow with the game a little. It's Icecool.
Oh,
and it's a game about penguins catching fish. You're just trying to flick penguins through little doorways.
It's a great game.
And one penguin's trying to tag the other penguins. It's called Icecool. Adults can have fun playing it because it's...
Theater and Lawrence love it.
They're
2 and 4.
And they don't really play by all the rules, but it's okay. They still have fun. And you can find it. It's easy to find, and it's not very expensive. So
yeah, that's my honorable mention too. That's a good one.
Yeah. But my real number 10 is Ticket to Ride, which it's very good chance you've at least seen, if not played. This is a game that is perfectly situated to, like, everyone should have it in their house. Everyone has a family, should have this game in their house. This game is not that long. It's good for, all you have to do is be able to read city names. That's like the most reading that's in there.
You don't even have to do that. You can just kind of like see
if you have young kids who don't know, they could ask you. You know, it's a little less competitive that way, but it's fine. Because you're in Ticket to Ride, you're picking up cards that match, that are colored cards, and you're trying to get sets that match lines on the map. And then when you get a set, you claim that route, and then you get points for it. So it's a bit like Rummy, where you're just you're just picking up cards and getting matches. But because there's lines on the map, it makes it feel really strategic, and it's fun.
It's super fun.
And it's easy for a lot of people to catch on to. So, Ticket to Ride. And it plays up to 5 people, and it doesn't take long. Or it doesn't have to take long.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So my number 9 is a game called Cytosis. This is a game that is teaching, I think it was designed to teach kids how to build cells, or like, not how to build, but how cells work, the different parts of cells, like the carbohydrates and I forget the other things. We haven't played it for a long time, so I don't remember all the different parts, but essentially those are the pieces you're playing with. You're trying to build a cell. It's an excellent game. It's really educational. It's really bright and pretty, well designed. And I love, like, you're actually like have these little discs that are like the base of the cell, and then you add the different components. So you're actually like building almost like a 3D cell. It's so clever. Anyway, so Cytosis, my number 9.
My number 9 is a game called Cartagena. And yes, and it's a very great game for families with young kids, we've played this with very young kids and they get it. You're basically just have a hand of cards that have symbols on them, and you have a track where your guys are trying to get to a boat, and you just play a card that matches the symbol, and your guy goes to that symbol. And if someone's already on that symbol, you skip over that guy and you go to the next spot on the path with that symbol. It's like Candyland
a little bit,
but you actually make decisions.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. My mom really likes that.
Yeah, and this is you can still find it. It's not a very expensive game. Again, this is a game that, like, if you have young kids and you're trying to find good games to play, like this game.
This is definitely a good step from like the really basic games that.
Yeah, like the ones that you don't even, as an adult, you're so bored at.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the next.
This is fun for
step.
adults too, and kids have a chance to beat adults at this game. So
yeah, it's good. Nice choice. I didn't put that on, but I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 8 is a game called City of Spies. Okay, so this is a game where.
Really.
I like this game a lot.
This game is complicated.
It's not complicated. It's a little complicated because it's not your typical board game setup. There's different cards that you put out, and it creates the game board. And in each card has a different rule, basically. So there are rules to keep track of, but every turn is basically the same. You have spies that are trying to, what is the word? Bring on new spies.
Recruit.
They're trying to recruit new spies. So you're putting your best spy in the room where you want to like recruit someone, and you don't know what other people are going to be playing either. So it's a little bit of a betting game, a little bit of a gamble.
So all the spies have abilities.
They all have, someone could shoot you, someone could, I forget what the other things are. Seduce you. Yeah. So it's done really well for its theme, like being spies, but it's also, I really enjoy games where there is that betting element, and because it's that same thing every turn, the turns are fast, so I enjoy it a lot. I recommend it, City of Spies.
All right. I don't know if I agree, but Sagrada is my number 8, and she already talked about this. That's the game where you're building
I did.
glass. And so I agree with you. Everything you said. It's pretty. It's only, when we take this to family gatherings and someone's playing it, people that aren't normally interested in board games come over and they're like, "What is this game? It looks so good." So, and people kind of get, it's like intuitive the way you.
It's very enjoyable.
Well, half the game's intuitive. Yeah, but it's good.
Pattern.
Yeah. And this one you can buy at Barnes Nobles, and it's easier to find.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Good call. Copying me. Okay, my number 7 is a game called Mysterium. So Mysterium's one of my favorite games, period, because of how beautiful it is. It's a game where you're trying to figure out who done it. Like you're trying to figure out the weapon in the room and the murderer. Kind of like in Clue, but not at all the same game. So the whole premise is there's a ghost and you're holding a seance in this like mysterious romantic castle mansion thing. And the ghost is trying to give all the members of the party clues. It's not so much about all the rules. It's more about interpretation of these mysterious images that the ghost hands out to you. The images are wordless, or the cards are wordless. And so it's just like interpreting these dreamlike, mysterious pictures. It's great. We've played with people as young as 6, and they've enjoyed it and could take part. And it's also like very grown up at the same time. Like it's fun and grown up at the same time. So Mysterium is my number 7.
That's a good one. A lot of people can play too.
A lot of people can play too. Yeah, that's true.
My number 7 is a game called Azul, which is slightly abstract. You're collecting tiles and trying to fill them in your floor that you're trying to tile out, but the theme's kind of whatever. But this game came out fairly recently, and the quality's really good. The tiles are made out of the same stuff that dominoes are made out of, so it's nice and clinky.
Yeah.
I think this would appeal to a lot of people, like people that don't play games.
It does. It's like the number 1 best-selling game.
Is it? Well,
last year.
You can find this. I think this game is available, easy to find.
Yeah.
And it's more for, it's probably not the best for young kids, because it's a little more complicated.
It is.
But it's not like complicated in a way that there's lots of rules. So even if you're new to gaming, it's not like convoluted like that. So, but it's a very good game, and I see a lot of people enjoy it. So you should check it out.
Nice choice. Okay, so my number 6 that I recommend is StarRealms. StarRealms is is it a deck builder? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just basically cards. And you're playing against the other people, and you can either cause damage, or you can spend money to build up your ships and your weapons and your defenses. And so that's pretty much it. You're just trying to take down the other person. And so the premise is really simple, and these cards build really well on each other. There's like different factions, and you want to try and collect the same faction to get a really strong amount of cards that you can play on each other, because if you play one card of the same faction, the next card of that same faction is going to give you a boost. Really fun. And Daniel was explaining to me, like, if someone who played Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, they would totally get into this game because it's kind of that same gameplay. But I had never played those games when he introduced it to me, and I loved it right away. So
assuming you actually like the gameplay. Now, because it's not about collecting decks and getting rare cards. It's none of that. It's just a cheap $20 game, and you buy it and you can play with someone else.
StarRealms, I would recommend to people. So
yeah, it's inexpensive.
It's great for 2 players.
Yes,
I find. We always enjoyed it that way.
My number 6 is Yinsh. Yinsh is a little harder to find, but you can find it. I checked before I put it on the list, and this game is perfect for someone who's in the checkers or in the chess even, and wants another similar game where the board's just black and white. You got pieces that are black and white, and you put them on the board, and very abstract, mano a mano type strategy game. Do against the other person. There's no luck involved, and it's one of those games that has very simple rules, but it can be very hard to master. There's a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. When you see pictures of it online, it may not look that great, but when you see it in person, it feels great. The pieces are like a ceramic porcelain type. And so they're heavy and chunky. And there's a lot of, like, I've played a lot of abstract games and I'm like, I don't know. I'd rather just play checkers or chess. But Yinsh is a game that I'm like, this game stands on its own. The rules on this is much simpler than chess. Slightly more complicated than checkers. It gives you a lot of strategy. So if you're into those type of games, check it out. Yinsh. Yeah. And if you like that one, that same designer made a bunch of other abstract games. You can check those out too.
So my number 5 is called Welcome To. It's a game where you're filling in a sheet. Kind of along the lines of Yahtzee, but it's a lot shorter, and any amount of people can play. So Welcome To, what you're doing is you're basically filling out this page, and you're creating your dream town. You have a deck of cards that flip 3 different addresses, and for each address there's usually a different scoring technique that you can add to your page. So everyone's playing simultaneously, you get to choose one of the 3 addresses to fill into your page, and at the end of the game you're just seeing who scored the highest. So on this page there's all sorts of different, you can either try to score as many pools as you can on these different properties, or a certain grouping of them. If you get 5 houses in a row, that's worth something. Yeah. So it's just super fun. I think the best element of it is that it's really easy to learn, and that you can play with as many people as you can get around the table, essentially. 2 to 20. So it's great. Welcome To was that game.
I don't know if that game's in print.
Really?
I don't know if people can find that game easily.
I'm sorry, I didn't check. We'll have to put a little notation.
Well, I'm sure they're going to print it again because it sold out really fast.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 5 is Cytosis. It was her number something or other. Cytosis is great if you're a homeschooler and you got kids learning, even if you're not homeschooling,
biology.
But like if you're just learning about biology, it's basically cell biology 101. It's very educational. They have scientists. I don't know if they're scientists.
It's a
teachers,
fun game too. I think it's
they have all the like technical information, like a sheet about that, and then a sheet for the rules.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's colorful. I wish they had games like this when I was trying to learn this stuff, because it helps you like learn the different parts, and it gives you that imagery. So it's very good.
My number 4 is a game called Codenames. It's a party game, and Daniel doesn't like it, but everyone we play with loves it.
So not that I don't like it.
It's a team game. There's 2 people on each team they are trying to give clues for the rest of their team to guess words by word association. So for example, if I say dog 3, they're going to look at the words available that everyone's that's in front of them on the table, and they might pick leash, fleas, and walk.
They've already played this game.
Probably. You think?
It's everywhere. It's Target. It's like...
Well, in case you haven't played it, if you go to parties and you're bored and you don't want to just eat and drink and watch movies, if you want to figure out how to insert a game on occasion, Codenames is the game, because it's so easy to learn. It's teams. So for the most part, no one's on the spot. You can just play along with the group. It's great that way, and I highly recommend it. Codenames. No one asked you!
I didn't put any party games on my list because...
Party names are important for people who are getting into the gaming
It's
hobby.
Important to a certain group of people. And you're
it's a good way to introduce people.
Sometimes, but when I was looking for new games, party games, I always come across.
You bought Codenames.
I did.
Introduced it to all our friends, and they all loved it. Like you were a Codenames person.
But none of those people were like, oh, I'm looking for a good strategic game. Codenames is it?
No, of course not.
So
it's just a game. It does not all games have to be that.
They all have to be. If your brain's not smoking, why are you playing?
Well, anyway, Codenames is my recommendation. So for number 4, go ahead. You go.
All right. I mean, it's much better than like Pictionary or most traditional party games. For my number 4 is far superior than Codenames, and it is Time Stories.
Are you serious?
Yeah, Time Stories.
Oh my gosh!
Listen,
Time
Stories was one of the first games that we ever played that was like in the new hobby gaming realm.
Okay.
We had played Ticket to Ride. We had played Catan, which probably you played too. And then we bought Time Stories, and it will blow your mind. Like
it does blow your mind.
If you're not used to playing a lot of games, you play traditional games and a few hobby games. This game, it will just open your mind to like what board gaming can be. Okay, it's cooperative. You're working with a team, preferably 4 people, but you can do 3 or 2 if you want to. And you're exploring rooms, and it has a lot of good artwork, mystery, and you're trying to solve a problem, like exploring different areas, trying to gather clues and solve problems or fight off baddies sometimes. And if you buy the base game, it has one module in it, and then after you solve that one, you can buy...
You can't play it again.
You can't play it again because you know all the...
But you can purchase another story.
Yeah, that you plug into the base
story
game. Right.
To go into it. And it's kind of like a continuing
We've
story.
had it. It takes a time to play it. It's a little bit longer game.
It's a really long game.
It depends.
And we play with our other 2 gamer friends.
We play... Yes, but when
This is not something I'd like say, oh, would you like to... find out what board games are like these days. Here you go!
No, it's not like that though. The rules aren't that hard to learn. We didn't play a lot of board games when we first played it.
It's a pretty intense
When
game.
you play it though, you just gotta know like this, we're gonna set aside an evening to play. You don't have to set aside all day. If they're playing Monopoly or Risk, this game is shorter than those games.
This is a mind-blowing game. This is like, wow, I had no idea games were so amazing. Like, way better than watching a movie. Way better than, like, I don't know, What's another thing people do? I don't know. Go into a football game, whatever.
Hey, some people really like their football. Don't say that. They.
Anyway, it's really
Our
cool.
2 subscribers just went down to 1 because you...
Anyway, the point is, this is a great game, but I wouldn't introduce it to everyone because it could really turn off certain people. You would not play this with like certain people in our family.
No, I would play it.
Well, yeah, but they wouldn't. They wouldn't like it.
They wouldn't like this game maybe because it was too long. Like, you have to want to play a game that's like thematic.
It's really frustrating if not everyone's working well together. You get stuck back to the beginning over and over.
Yeah, but like it's a little bit like a dinner party mystery where like it's slight role playing if you want to, but you don't have to.
It's a little. That's risky. This is a risky recommendation.
Listen, if you want to know what board games can be, if you retire, if you play Ticket to Ride and you're like, this is fun. But I'm gonna I'd rather just go play video games because this isn't very good.
This is a super immersive experience.
Yeah, it's really immersive. It's fun. If you're setting aside an evening.
You can't have any kids around. You really need to get into it, and you need to.
I'm telling you.
Get your thinking caps on.
Yeah, and if you know us, we'll lend you the base copy. I mean, you can play it, and if you like that, we'll sell you all the modules that we can't play anymore.
Bold. It's bold. Bold recommendation.
I'm telling you, it's worth it, and it's not that hard to learn. That's not what you're not saying that it's like...
No, it's just it can be frustrating.
Sure it can be.
Yeah. Because you are very time restricted.
Even if you don't like the game, if you get to the end of the game and you're like, I don't think this game's for me, I think you will still be like, wow. There must be games out there that I didn't know existed because this game exists.
All right, so my number 3 is a game called Century Golem Edition. There's the original Century is Century Spice Road. I prefer the Golem edition because it's the one we have. But the components are really nice.
They're prettier.
They're really pretty. You get metal coins with this edition, and you get these pretty little gems, and it's very fantasy, which I really like. But both games are essentially the same, where you're collecting these gems or spices to purchase or to
You're trying to collect sets.
You're trying to collect patterns, not sets. There's also market cards that allow you to upgrade the gems that you have or trade them in. So there's this constant manipulating what you have to get what you need aspect. With the cards, you're trying to get points at the end, and the person to get 5 goes out. So even the person that goes out isn't necessarily going to win. I like that. I like you're never sure who's gonna win or who's gonna steal that card from you. It's a really great game. It's gone over well with pretty much everyone we shared it with. So that's Century Golem Edition.
This game is entertaining.
I have a feeling we're going to disagree considerably from here on out.
Probably we will.
Well, because
it's not my favorite, but it is a good game to teach people that want to know more about the hobby. Yeah, because it's got a little bit of everything. It's got new mechanisms.
And it's not your typical game. It's not just a board game with a pawn. No, it's different.
Right.
Yeah. I
agree. It belongs on this list. I would have put it on my list, but I didn't want to.
You ran out of space.
Instead, I put Flatline on my list.
Okay.
Flatline is if you like cooperative. My last game was cooperative. Cooperative games can be a lot of fun. The problem is sometimes if someone really knows the game, and a lot of people don't know the game, that one person tells everyone else what they should do, and then they get a little
bossy. Yeah.
Yeah. But Flatline, time stories, you can't do that because each person has to do their own thing, and then you have to. And this one, Flatline, you can't do because
there's not enough time.
There's not enough time.
It's time sensitive.
Because a bomb blew up on a spaceship or
round.
spacecraft or something, and then you're trying to save patients, and so everyone's a doctor. And you roll dice, and you're trying to match your dice to patients on the board, and you only have a minute to do it, and there's never enough time. And then you got so many patients you got to go through before the generator runs out. And if you don't, you failed.
Complete
this is another game that's produced well. It looks good. It's produced better than any of the mainstream games. We played a lot with
people. You're right.
Yeah, and if you don't like real-time games, if you don't like that stress, then you might want to pass on this one. But I like this because it's real time, but it's only for a minute, and then you take a break and you talk about it, and then you go to the next round, and then it's 1 minute fast. And so it's kind of like a good mix. And well, we teach this with newer players. If one person knows the rules, the other people can just play the game, and that one person can take care of like maybe like the little maintenance parts. Okay.
Okay, so my second is a game called Yinch. He already spoke of it. It's the abstract strategy game with the black and white pieces. You're basically just trying to get 5 in a row. That's essentially what it is. 5 of your color in a row. And what's really cool is like when you can constantly flip what's out on the board.
Well, not constantly, but you can jump over them.
When you jump over the little disc, you flip the color.
Yeah.
So whatever he's putting out, you can possibly change to your color. I really love this game. It is strategic. It is puzzly. It is like back and forth. But I find like within chess and checkers, I can never play these games well. This game I get. I'm not sure why. I think it's because it's more of patterns than anything else. It's not like, oh, well, this piece does this and I'm going to outmaneuver you. This is more like, whoa, I didn't even see that pattern and look.
They're still outmaneuvering.
It is.
It kind of plays to both worlds, though. Because if you're good at recognizing patterns and stuff, you'd be good.
If
you're good at planning
super
ahead,
elegant. Like when you put it out, even though it's not really flashy, it does have a very compelling look. It has a very sophisticated, like, Star Trek.
And it's not that very complicated. I mean, it's not very expensive is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. It's not very expensive if you can find it. That's the only problem.
So my number 2 is Viticulture. Now, Viticulture... My number 2 and number 1. Now, Viticulture is not for everyone. Let me say that. Like, if you're super casual and like you just want to like games.
So it's interesting. I have a story. My friend asked for a recommendation for her husband. They love Catan. What should I get him for Christmas? We suggested Viticulture. I just spoke with him the other week. I said, what did you think? He said, I loved it, but my wife thought it was too long. That's the...
Am I your wife?
No.
It was too long. That's my Leah impression.
Anyway, so that's my story. It's great for some people.
Yeah, and
but it is long.
It has like a more rules to it. You know, it's a meatier game. Mm-hmm. But like you said, like someone played Catan and they're looking for the next game. And I think that too many times...
Catan isn't even on my list.
Well, because we wouldn't really recommend it to new players. There's parts of Catan that make it not quite a good game.
I didn't recommend it because I already, I don't like it as much as these other games.
So don't recommend it.
I don't know. It's just like it feels wrong.
It's a lot of luck. There's maybe too much luck to Catan.
Catan is like the gateway game. That's why we're talking about it at all.
For a certain generation.
Yeah.
Anyways, the problem I have... So a lot of times these games are called gateway games, right? Because it gets you into the hobby. And when I see most lists online, when I see those games, I'm like, if I played any of those, most of those games, if I would have played them when I was trying to figure out board games, I would have been bored to death. Because I got Ticket to Ride and we played it a few times and I was like, this is fun. It's fun because I can play it with my family and everything. But honestly, it's like, it doesn't hold my attention. Like, it's not a game like, oh, I love this game. You know, it's like, oh, this is fun. Because I like the more brainier, the more thinker games, you know. So I think Viticulture is a good way to go. It's not super complicated. The rules are just a few pages. You have a vineyard, you're growing grapes. You gotta press those grapes into juice and make that juice turn into wine. And then you gotta complete orders. So it's a game where you have so many workers, you put them out on the board, and then you can only do certain things in certain seasons. It's really good. And if you've only played Catan, or if you play Ticket to Ride and you're like, Ticket to Ride's good, but really I kind of get bored after playing it because every game's very similar. This is a game you should try out.
I'm not gonna knock Viticulture. I really like Viticulture, but I would not try to play it with a bunch of newbies. Sorry. That sounds rough.
And I would. And I have, and they've enjoyed it. But if you're kind of like, why do we just want some good party games to play or some light family games? Well, then don't buy Viticulture. But if you want a games you can play with other adults, that's going to be a little more thinky.
Yeah.
But it's not crazy complicated.
Yeah. Okay. So my number 1 is Ticket to Ride, the game he started his list with. Ticket to Ride is truly a joy to play. It's still one of my favorites, even though I would say it's one of the simplest games, one of the more simple games that we own. Like he said, you're basically collecting the sets of the different color train cars, and then when you get like 6 or 5 or like wherever you have a space to put a train, you can fill your train in and make a route. Now the key to this game is getting your train to all connect, hopefully make the longest train. That's where the real fun is, like getting your routes to connect in all one big train. I mean, I love doing that, and I usually win.
I have to say, like, I understand why you put this as number 1, because it probably is the gateway game.
It's really pretty.
It is so... It's nearly mainstream now. Like, we go to people's houses who don't play games.
I saw it in an episode on Netflix original.
Yeah.
I was like, they're playing Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
So
it's so ubiquitous at this point that I almost wonder if people need to be told about this game.
I believe in Ticket to Ride, so that's why I made it my
Not because it's a bad game. I don't mean because it's a bad game. I just mean
truly would share that with
even if you're going to Target and just like, oh, this is a cool game. Like, it has cool artwork. Like,
yeah. Well, I'd say, have you played Ticket to Ride?
That's a good poll.
I want to know. Like, have you?
If you're watching this video,
then you should. And then
if you watch this video, but you don't like have a board game collection, so you're not like already in the hobby. Have you played this game? Because I'm curious. I'm curious if people who... I don't even know... Hopefully there's people
watching this. Leave in the comments.
Have
you played Ticket to Ride?
Yeah, hopefully there's some of you watching this that don't like have a game collection. I think most people... This is their gateway game. It's not Catan anymore.
I don't know.
Anyways, my number 1... She's not going to agree with it. But I have to preface this with... Look, I was a big video game player. I like complicated video games. I like...
you didn't,
EU4, which most of you don't know that game because it's not very popular because it's so complicated. And I like MMORPGs where, you know, there's 6 or 12 of you go into a dungeon and you gotta fight this monster, this room perfectly for an hour and a half, and anyone makes a mistake with their timing or their placement, everyone dies, and then everyone's mad at that one person or whatever. Not really, but... I like those games where you have to like dig into, you have to know like what you're doing. Okay, you got to be over in that corner by the 2nd minute mark, or these guys over here are gonna go kill the healer. Like, I like those, right? So when I go into board gaming, I like board gaming because you can do it with your family. It's easier. Like, you're across the table from people. But I always missed that good in-depth strategy. What are we doing together? How are we gonna defeat this adversary? Everyone's got to be at the top of the game, knowing what they're doing, and I just could not find that in a board game in a way that was like repeatable, like you could play the game again. Like, there's complicated, like Time Stories is very like...
Kind of like that, but you can't repeat. You can't go back.
Yeah, it's not as complicated, but like there is like, oh, what are we doing? But then when you play it, it's done. You can't play it again. So my number 1 gateway game for gamers. So people who already play, and I don't mean like you play a lot of shoot 'em up games, because not that there's anything wrong with shoot 'em up games, but I don't think you'll like RPGs. I don't think you'll like this game as much. I don't think this game will click for you. But especially if you're an old school MMORPG player that likes raiding, I think you should try out. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Spirit Island. Now, this game is complex. This game is complex even for people who play a lot of board games. But if you're used to complex video games and you're used to, like, if I say, oh, do you play a healer or do you play a tank? Or do you like playing DPS? Like, if you know what I'm talking about, then you should try this game out, because now it's not marketed as an MMORPG. You won't see those terms in this game at all. But the way it plays, when you start crunching it, your spirit's on an island trying to repel invaders, okay? And so each invader has like different abilities, and you're growing as a spirit during the game. You're getting more power cards, more abilities. You're strengthening. At the same time, the invaders are coming, and they're coming faster than you can grow to a certain point in the game. And you're trying to repel them and keep them from devastating the island to a point that's irreversible before you chase them off the island. And so some spirits are better at defending, where other spirits are better at attacking, but bad at defending. some spirits are more crowd control. Like I said, if you know these terms, if you know what I'm talking about, maybe this game is for you. And so there's no marketing that at all affiliates this with MMORPG rating, but in my mind, as an old school MMORPG player, this is the board game that scratches that itch. And I played this game more than I played any other game, even like the games that take 10-15 minutes. I think I played this game more because we play it all the time. Maybe not StarRealms. It's nearly most played game, and yet I am still like I want to figure out this puzzle. Like I still want to. It's cooperative. In case I didn't mention that. So
I have a story.
This is not for the average person. This is for people that are already
He played
gamers,
it the first time,
video gamers.
And he was like this stoked. Like he is now.
Yeah, I'm still stoked.
And it's gotten better and better. Like he loves it. We've been playing it for like almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a long time to warm to this game, but I played it with him because I know he really liked it. And I did kind of see what he did, but it took me a really long time to really feel comfortable, to feel like get used to the mechanics, to get used to like how the different, like I have different spirits where I'm like, yes, that's my spirit. I know how to play this one. But it took me a long time. We've had some tears over this game. It's not something I would recommend to someone trying to get into the board gaming hobby unless you are that particular gamer that he's talking about.
Yeah, and I put this on this list because you will never find, whenever you go online and you search, oh, let's look for games for people getting into board games. They're always like super simple games, and I know those are people out there that were like me, and I wanted to like board games, right? So I kept looking for new games. But there are people out there that are like halfway interested. I'm like, I don't know, but all these games seem super boring. I've even talked to a guy who has like 200 games in his collection. I asked him how he got into board gaming. He said, well, I played Magic or D&D, and then I tried to get into board games, but they all bored me. And if you guys have played D&D, like D&D has a 300-page rule book, I think, and that's a short rule book. This game has a 10-page rule book. All right, so it's a lot less rules.
That's pretty, yeah,
so,
that's true.
I mean, it's not like as complicated as very common games out there. D&D is pretty common nowadays.
Yeah.
More so than it was. So, anyways.
Anyway, okay.
That's our list.
Wow. That was...
I hear the typing from here telling me that my list is invalidated, but...
I think it's good. I think mine was more geared at our aunts and uncles, and yours was more geared at that lost soul out there who doesn't know what to do with his friends anymore.
Because they don't make good MMOs anymore. You know what I'm talking about? There's none out there, and you're all trying to play 10-year-old games.
Yeah. Hopefully this video will reach everyone on their level.
And if it's Spirit Island can be a little complicated or a little expensive. So if you want to try it out, give me a call. I would love to teach you this game.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching our video on games we would recommend to new gamers, games that we like, that we've shared. We don't totally agree on the games we should share, but I think it was good. It was a good mix. So if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. We always are encouraged to see that. If you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, consider doing so. And as always, leave a comment. We love to hear what you're thinking.
Yeah, even if you disagree.
Even if you disagree. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.
All right, so the question I get asked most when we go to events and I bring fun games is...
Where'd you get it?
Where'd you get these games? So I'm here to tell you, Amazon would have these games a lot of times, but Amazon has trouble with getting counterfeit games that have really low quality.
Be careful.
And it's been a problem.
Buyer beware.
Some of the hobby game publishers have almost gone bankrupt because of the problems they've had. So anyways, these are the websites we recommend. Game Surplus. Their website's not the best, but they're local. They're local to Lancaster, Pennsylvania. All right. MiniatureMarket.com. They have a lot of games. They're good price. And then Cool Stuff Inc. CoolStuffInc.com. Those three websites are great websites to find, and there's more, but those are the places I shop. So that's where you should look for your games.
Yeah, we are. in the place to be. Yeah, yeah,